Shocking how the Muslim Brotherhood secretly controls Nigerian pastors and can the hidden truth. This is IPOB Rapture Media, and we are here to detonate a truth bomb. Your first mission is to prepare to share this video. The powers that be will try to bury this message, so it is your duty to spread it far and wide. What if the greatest threat to Christianity in Nigeria wasn't an advancing army you can see? What if it was a whisper in the ears of the very leaders you trust? What if the men in the pulpits, claiming to speak for God, were secretly taking orders from the enemy? For years, one man has been risking his life to tell you this truth. From the airwaves of Radio Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has warned of a deep, dark compromise at the very heart of the Nigerian church. Today we expose the hidden network he warned about. We'll connect the dots and ask the forbidden questions about who is really in control of the Christian Association of Nigeria. This is the story powerful people do not want you to hear. The Great Betrayal. 2025 was a year written in the blood of our people. In June, a devastating attack on the Yelawata community in Benue state reportedly left as many as 200 people dead, with many more missing.
Unprecedented and unprovoked. That's how locals describe the brutal onslaught that has left Yelawata reeling. For at least 4 hours last Friday, gunmen laid siege to this village, shooting, hacking, and setting corpses ablaze.
They came well prepared, shooting anyone in sight, barely managed to escape.
But his 5 children and 2 other relatives were killed and burned right here. It's the deadliest assault in the region this year. State authorities put the official death toll at just 59. But village officials say they've recovered and buried at least 170 bodies so far. Right behind me, inside this house, lie the decomposing bodies of at least 10 people, still unburied. Locals say some of them had fled from another village, seeking safety here. Instead, they met a tragic end.
In August, more Christians were slaughtered on their farms in Guma County. A respected human rights group, Inter Society, reported that thousands of Christians were killed and abducted throughout the year. These aren't just statistics. They are families destroyed, futures erased, and communities burned to the ground. So, in the face of this onslaught, what was the message from the national leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria as we entered 2026? Their New Year message, signed by President Archbishop Daniel Oko, spoke of economic hardship, insecurity, and widespread uncertainty. It called for responsible leadership and urged that progress be felt in affordable food and accessible healthcare. Read those words again. Economic hardship, insecurity. These are the words you use to describe a failing economy. They aren't the words you use when your people are being systematically exterminated. While Christian villages are being wiped out, the national leadership of KN is talking about the price of bread. It's a betrayal. A deliberate, calculated decision to downplay the brutal reality of what's happening. While the flock is being slaughtered, the shepherds are busy negotiating with the wolves. The quiet endurance of our people isn't a sign that all is well. It's a scream of agony our leaders are choosing to ignore. But why? Why the deafening silence on the real issue? Who benefits from this carefully chosen language? The voices they can't silence. While the national body of CAN speaks in hushed tones, the truth is erupting from the ground up. Pastors and bishops who live among the carnage are refusing to read from the official script. Listen to the chairman of the CAN Plateau state chapter. In late 2025, after another wave of massacres, he stood with youth groups and called it what it is, a systematic genocide. A local reverend, Ezekiel Dachomo, put it plainly for the world to hear.
This is genocide! From the bottom of my heart, this is genocide! It is genocide of Christians in Nigeria. We are being killed because we are Christians. Our villages are being empty, remain and occupied by those who kill us, and government is doing nothing about it.
This is not communal conflict. It is not a clash between farmers and herders. It is a systematic, organized campaign to wipe out Christians from their ancestral lands. And he's not alone. For years, one of the bravest voices has been Bishop Wilfred Anagbe of Makurdi.
The agenda to homogenize the population has been implemented over several presidencies through a strategy to reduce and eventually eliminate the Christian identity of half of the population. This strategy includes both violent and non-violent actions, such as the exclusion of Christians from positions of power and adoption of such church members, the raping of women, the killing and expulsion of Christians, the destruction of churches and farmlands of Christian farmers, followed by the occupation of such lands by the Fulani herders, and also changing the names of these villages. They are taking over the places, so you clearly see an expansionist approach and Islamic, and then they are making the people now flee and leave their villages, and they conquer it. The quest to Islamize the land appears high on the agenda of some of the powerful and influential Muslims in Nigeria. There is a campaign to take land to spread Islam, and there is the hemorrhaging of Christian farmers from the central region of Nigeria and Benue State, and Makurdi Diocese in particular, as they are forced to abandon fertile lands that used to feed the nation, which classify Benue as the food basket of the nation. Militant Fulani herdsmen are terrorists destroying society. They steal and vandalize, they kill and boast about it. They kidnap and rape, and they enjoy total impunity from the elected authorities. None of them have been arrested and brought to justice. This is supported by the corrupt system in which we operate and the abject poverty among us, which allow the criminals to easily attract more recruits. Half the population is in the process of being murderously eliminated. Work with us, the churches, and other Nigerians of goodwill. We are working for a peaceful and prosperous society, and our desperate plight has been set aside in U.S. policy for too long, to the cost of thousands of lives. Concretely, I request and I plead, I ask you to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. This has both a practical and diplomatic meaning to signal that you are paying attention to what happens to us and elsewhere in the world, because
he has gone before the United States Congress multiple times pleading for help. He told them that Christians in Nigeria face elimination. He described it as a church under Islamist extermination. He exposed the lie of farmer-herder clashes for what it is, a cover story. Bishop Anagbe testified that this is a long-term Islamic agenda to conquer Nigeria. He even pointed to the blueprint, the 1989 Abuja Islamic Declaration, a plan he says called for a jihadist push to dip the Quran into the Atlantic Ocean. Think about that. You have bishops on the ground, witnessing the genocide firsthand, risking their lives to tell the world. You have state chapters of CAN screaming that this is a planned extermination. Yet, the national leadership in Abuja releases polished statements about economic strain. It doesn't add up. The contradiction is so glaring it can't be an accident. This isn't just a disagreement. It's evidence of a compromised leadership. The men at the top aren't just silent. They are actively suppressing the truth their own bishops are shouting from the rooftops, connecting the dots, the hidden hand. So, we have to ask the forbidden question. If the leadership of CAN isn't speaking for Christians, who are they speaking for? Who wrote the script that prioritizes insecurity over genocide? To find the answer, you have to look beyond Nigeria. You have to look to a global force with a century-long history of infiltration and silent conquest, the Muslim Brotherhood. Founded in Egypt in 1928, the Brotherhood's strategy has rarely been about open warfare. It's about influence. It's about patiently placing agents and sympathizers inside the most important institutions of a nation, the government, the media, and yes, even the church. Their goal is to weaken a nation from within until it's ripe for takeover. There's a famous captured document, a 1991 internal memo from the Muslim Brotherhood in North America.
I am holding in my hand the Muslim Brotherhood plan for the destruction of the United States, written 5/22/1991. The title of the plan is مذكرة تفسيرية للهدف الاستراتيجي العام للجماعة في أمريكا الشمالية. You all got that? There will be a quiz. It is titled The Muslim Brotherhood, an explanatory memorandum for the general strategic goal for the group, the Muslim Brotherhood in North America, written 5/22/1991. This plan was presented as evidence in the Holy Land Foundation trial, the largest terrorism trial ever in the history of the United States, where our government handed down, hello my best friend, where our government handed down 108 guilty verdicts for Muslim Americans and Muslim American organizations raising money to support terrorist organizations in the Middle East to the tune of millions. And I'm just going to read you a paragraph of this plan, so it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. They talk about the settlement in the United States. Understanding the role of the Muslim Brother in North America. The process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process with all the word means. The Ikhwan, which is the Arabic word for brothers, must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers so that it is eliminated and Allah's religion is made victorious over all other religions. Is this clear? They don't mince words, do they? But the most important page of this document is the last page. Because in the last page, they list 29 front Islamic organizations set up in the United States with the specific goal of sabotaging America from within and destroying America by our own hands. And I'm just going to name a few. Number one on the list is ISNA, Islamic Society of North America. And if you're familiar with ISNA, it's because they are now advisors to President Obama about Middle East policy. So we not only have the fox watching the hen house, we have the fox inside the White House dictating policy in the ear of the president. Number two on the list is the MSA, the Muslim Student Association. The Muslim Student Association has more chapters on American college campuses than the Democrats and the Republicans combined. Number 8 on the list is NATE, the North American Islamic Trust. The North American Islamic Trust owns the deed to over 90% of American mosques in the United States. That is a problem. Now, what makes this very important, and I'm going to focus in the last 5 minutes on education, is to show you how they set up every organizations in this plan to destroy America, focusing on every sector of our society. Organizations focused on publishing, organization focused on media, organization focused on education, with the strict purpose of doing sabotage to America from within. And I'm not talking military. We know that ISIS and Al-Qaeda and all the others want to attack the United States and do damage to the United States. As a matter of fact, we in the United States have 150 terrorist organizations right now operating in America. 5 of them are operating right here in the District of Columbia. And our government, and these are the ones we know about.
It detailed their plan for a grand jihad to destroy Western civilization from within. It wasn't a plan of bombs and bullets. It was a plan of infiltration, of using our own institutions against us. While that memo was for North America, don't be naive enough to think it was their only one. It is a global strategy, and Nigeria is a primary target. The goal in Nigeria is simple: neutralize Christian resistance. Jihadist forces, from Fulani militants to Boko Haram and ISWAP, are the physical army. But for them to succeed, the spiritual and political leadership of their target has to be neutralized. Must be silenced. How is it done? You don't need to control every single pastor. You just need the key men at the top. You offer them what weak men crave: money, influence, protection, a seat at the table of power. You appeal to their desire for peace, convincing them that speaking the hard truth about religious persecution will only cause more trouble. You get them to adopt your language, to call a jihad a clash, to call a genocide insecurity. You convince them that their silence is wisdom, when in reality it's treason. Is the national leadership of CAN simply failing to see the genocide, or are they being influenced to ignore it? Are they puppets, with the Muslim Brotherhood being the hidden hand pulling the strings, ensuring no unified, powerful Christian response can ever organize against the forces trying to dip the Quran in the Atlantic? The prophet they jailed, this entire network of deceit, this web of control, it's not a new discovery. It is exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been exposing on Radio Biafra for years. He told you about the compromise. He warned you about the sellout pastors. He connected the dots between the government, the jihadists, and the silent Christian leaders long before anyone else dared to, and for speaking this truth, they decided he had to be silenced. His rendition from Kenya was a crime against international law. His trial was a sham. And when they sentenced him to life in prison in November 2025, it wasn't just for terrorism. He was jailed because he's a prophet whose prophecies were all coming true. He is a prisoner of conscience, held because he knows their deepest secret, that the gatekeepers of Nigerian Christianity have sold the keys to the enemy. They thought that by locking him in a cell, they could lock away the truth. They were wrong. They only proved him right. Every weak statement from Khan, every new village that burns, every Christian life that is lost, proves that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was right all along. The powerful want this truth buried. The mainstream media will never report it. Big tech will try to suppress this video. They are counting on your fear and your silence. Don't give it to them. Share this video. Send it to your family, your friends, your pastors. Force them to confront the truth. Every share is an act of defiance. Every view is a victory. The enemy's plan only works in darkness. It's our job, it's your job to drag it into the light. Drop your comments below and make your voice heard. Let them know that we see what they're doing. And subscribe to this channel. Join the movement of truth tellers. Join the fight to reclaim our faith and our land from the traitors who sold us out. The battle for Nigeria isn't just on the fields of the Middle Belt. It's a battle for the soul of the church. The first step in any war is to identify the enemy, and that includes the traitors within our own ranks. They call Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a terrorist, but the real terrorists might just be the ones in suits and clerical collars, enabling the slaughter of their own people. They may have jailed the prophet, but they can't jail the truth. The truth is out, and now the truth is in your hands. What will you do with it? This has been a vital message from IPOB Rapture Media. The truth is our greatest weapon. Do not leave this video without sharing it on every platform you can. Wake up your friends, your family, and your community. The fight for our freedom starts with the truth, and it starts now. Thank you for listening, and stay strong.